Hey everyone, how's it going? Wage and Iverson here. You guys really enjoyed the silver augment tier list, so I'm going to be back and doing a gold augment tier list. And the other thing about the tier list is I'm not just going to be putting the augments in the tier list. I'm going to be also talking a little bit about like what kind of spots that you would like to actually take the augments, so you understand like when to take them. And yeah, there's a lot of gold augments, a lot more than silver augments, so I might be skimming over some of them so the video doesn't end up being like an hour long. First of all, Golden Quest. I think like if you pick your spots well, then this would be like an S tier augment. I'm tempted to put it in A tier just because it is pretty situational. Like a lot of the time that you see Golden Quest, you're not in the spot to take it. I guess I'll put it in A tier with the justification being like I think like probably like I don't know, maybe like 66% of it, like 2/3 of the time that you see this augment, you're not actually in a spot to take it. But when you are in a spot to take it, it's like extremely broken. And what that spot would look like is that you have a lot of gold when you're taking it, and also like some form of gold generation. So think like Mogul's Mail, Golden Edge Gnar, Gambler's Blade, those kind of spots you're gonna like instantly slam Golden Quest and have like a super high win rate. I think I personally like win so many games with this augment. Magic Roll is gonna be a B tier augment. Before taking magic rolls, you should like think through the choices and like if they're good for you. The three most common by far is like 4 components, and also you can get 200 HP on your team, and also you can get like a pile of champions, which will give you some upgraded like 3 costs and stuff. So if you feel like out of those choices, like maybe like 2 of them are good in your spot, like you're poor and you need items, then it can be a good choice. But it is like a little bit risky. Sometimes you're gonna get something that can grief you, and like the upside is not that high. Like 4 components can be like super good, but yeah, it's not like a crazy upside augment, except for like some of like the 1%ers. I would say it's a pretty average augment in general. A story of 7, I'm going to be going in C tier. If you're actually able to get to 14 wins, this augment becomes extremely OP. At 14 wins, you get like a radiant item, but it can be really hard to get to 14 wins. A 2-star 1 cost is not really enough to like full streak. So the spot that you take this augment is when you already have like a really strong board. And you know that you're like guaranteed to streak. Maybe you scout the lobby as well and you see it's weak. Adaptive Style, this is the Duelist augment. I think even in 6 Duelists, I find this augment to be like pretty underwhelming, so I'm just gonna be put it in C tier. Definitely don't take it if you're not playing 6 Duelist, and if you're playing 6 Duelist, it can be like an okay combat option. Aim for the Top, this augment is quite bad. They did just buff it, I believe, so that you get the first component after the first win. I think it's like C or D tier though. I also find that like when you have this augment, you can fight like the same person twice in one stage. And honestly, like whenever I play against this augment, I feel like the person always goes 8th, so I might just be putting it in D tier. But yeah, if you have a really strong opener, then you can probably farm a decent amount of components, and it might be like not that bad. Honestly, there's some truly bad augments in this game. I'll go C tier, but it's not very good. All That Shimmers is like an easy S tier. Mogul's Mail is super OP if you have like an upgraded tank. And Gambler's Blade is also super OP with Golden Edge Gnar. So this is like an easy S tier augment. All That Shimmers Plus, not as good. I'll be putting it in the A tier though. I think Mogul's Mail is still super viable on 3-2, especially if you're poor and like need items. So I think this is still a really good augment. This is like the 2nd or the 3rd mech augment. I mean, right now it's bugged, so that you can't actually guarantee all 3, but I'm just gonna be putting it in D tier because it's kind of like troll to chase after it, and it's like too hard to activate, and like if you're just 7 mech, like this augment doesn't do enough. Another one is a very bad augment. I think the 2-1 version, it's either C or D tier. I really hate this augment. Honestly, I might just go D tier. Like 2 components is like super underwhelming for a gold augment. I feel like literally like the only time you would even consider it is like if you're like Golden Edge Gnar with a Rage Blade, maybe. But even then, like other item augments just feels better. Like 2 components for a gold augment feels so bad when you could get like a replication that gives you 3 components. And I'm also gonna be putting this another 1+ in D tier. Ascension is probably another D tier augment. It just takes way too long to proc. And the fights are already decided by the time that you get to this augment. And I might do a little bit of readjustment later if I feel like there's too many augments in one tier, but Yeah, you can kind of tell how I feel about these augments. Aura farming, I'm gonna go into C tier. Or maybe B tier. I actually don't think this augment is too bad. There are some kind of low roll outcomes though. Gwen feels like super awkward right now. But I think stuff like Lee Sin and TF and like even Yone and yeah, Braum also and like Varus. They're like, if you can actually like have a strong board and make it to the legendary and gives you some direction, I might move it up into B tier. I feel like it is. I would rather take it than like any of these augments that I currently have in C tier. There's just really a lot of bad like gold augments right now, so some augments are just gonna end up being like a little bit higher just off default. Backup Dancer is a very solid combat augment. I'm gonna be putting in A tier. Think of like any comps that like Rageblade, it's gonna be like amazing in that, and like it's also a very strong augment early game. One thing about this is like it's basically the same thing as Clockwork Accelerator, except Clockwork Accelerator you like wouldn't give you a stack at the start of the fight, but this one gives you 9% attack speed at the start of the fight. So it is better than Clockwork Accelerator. I mean, yeah, it's a very solid option in Rageblade comps. Bastion Crest. The only thing you can really play with this is like Bastion Volibear, I think. I'm not really sure. Like, I'm just gonna put this in D tier. I don't think I've taken it once this set. And Bastions are not really in the best spot right now. Like, pretty much all the other vertical front lines are better. So yeah, I will go D tier. Battle Academia Crest, I think, can be okay. It's not something I'm like too excited to take on 2-1, but the upside of it is like pretty good in terms of like when you actually have 7 Battle Academia, it gives like so much stats. And if you play like 7 Battle Academia like Seraphine, it will be doing like so much damage. And I think like All Out Cassante used to be pretty viable with this before they nerfed him, as well as like Akali. They also nerfed her. But I could imagine definitely some spots where this can be pretty good, and I think it has like pretty high upside with like being a really good Seraphine item. Best Friends, I'm going to be putting in B tier. It's kind of an average combat augment. If your team likes attack speed and you're in an AD heavy lobby, then it can be like a really good option. So think like maybe like Crew Jin in like an AD heavy lobby, then I think it could be like a pretty good option. Big Friend is like easy D tier augment. It's like way too hard to proc, and even if you proc it, the upside is like pretty, like not really that great. Like what comp are you that happy to have it in? Like maybe like even in like a 6 Bastion setup, I wouldn't think it's that insane. So yeah, this is definitely a D tier augment. Big Grab Big, I'm gonna put in A tier. It's like a very solid choice. I think pretty much every comp in the game needs like minimum 1 item augment right now. So yeah, I think Big Grab Big is like something that you're pretty much always happy to have. It's not like so good that I'm gonna be putting in S tier, but I think it's like a great choice in like pretty much every comp. Blazing Soul feels a bit worse this set. I think I am going to be putting it in C tier. It doesn't feel good in Prodigies. Like, since they kind of reworked AP units, that attack speed is like less good on them because they don't get as much mana on hit. Blazing Soul does feel a little bit worse in this set. And it doesn't feel good in Prodigies because we don't use the attack speed well. It doesn't feel good in Sorks because we don't really need more AP. It doesn't even feel that good in Rise because we don't have like a Shojin or anything. So I'll put it in C tier. I think it can be like kind of like a below average combat option in those spots. It's not as bad as these D tier ones, but it's not really a very exciting augment. I think Blood Rage is just going to be like a D tier augment. It's pretty much unusable unless you're doing like a melee carry setup. Like if you're playing like a ranged comp, you're only getting like 5% damage amp. And even if it is a melee carry setup, you're probably getting an average of like 15-20% damage amp, which is like not that good. So yeah, I will be putting it in the D tier. It feels pretty bad right now. I think Bronze for Life is going to be probably B or C tier. I think I'll be going B tier. I think Bronze for Life is like an okay augment. I don't think it's like so good that you can really like completely change your board anymore after the nerfs to just get a lot of Bronze for Life value. But if you're like Fast 9 Varus, for example, then I think it can be like a really good option on 4-2. This augment's removed from the game, so I'll just skip over it. Calculated Loss I will be putting in the A tier. I think Lost Streak is like a little bit weak right now, but I think there's like so many bad 2-1 augments that it kind of just becomes A tier because like it's a really good econ option and you can kind of just pick whatever you want to play. You don't have to worry about being contested because you're going to have more econ and roll before anyone else. So it feels pretty good. Sorry, just taking some water. All right, next is Care Package. I am going to be... I actually think this augment might be S tier. but you're not really allowed to click a one behind. I'm gonna put it S tier. I think care package, if you're like ahead, healthy, by like stage 5, stage 6, it outscales like a big grab big like so hard. And I feel like this augment is like so good for playing for like a win and turning like mediocre spots into like, or not mediocre, but like good spots into spots that have like very strong chances of winning the game. Because yeah, even by 4-1, you're getting like a couple components, which is like slightly worse than a big grab. And then by 5-1, 6-1, you're also getting like small Nikos, you're getting extra gold, and you're getting like full items. That's gonna make your board like insanely strong in the late game. So I do really like this augment, although I know it's like a bit of a controversial take. And most of my like high elo friends also kind of agree with me. Caretaker's Favor, I'm going to be putting in the A tier. I think a couple things to note about this is that if you like have no board, I would usually rather click like an Econ augment than Caretakers, but I think if you are like kind of like win streaking and then you're not really going to get to like choose your components, but still lets you like play like a lot of comps that maybe would be kind of hard to play normally, like Ash Duelists. And yeah, I kind of like it with like a win streak or like a gold opener. I think it's like a really good option. Class President, I don't feel like too strongly about this augment. I have taken it a couple of times before. I think it's like a decent combat option in like Katarina reroll and Jace Caitlyn reroll. I wouldn't really want to take it in like Yuumi Prodigies. But yeah, I think it can be okay in like Cat and Jace like as a combat option. I'll just put it in kind of B tier. Clear Mind is definitely one of the worst, if not the worst, like Econ augment. I'm gonna put it in C tier. It's definitely not like unclickable by any means. Maybe Class President should be moved down to C tier. Yeah, I might move this down to C tier as well. Because I think this only gets offered on like, oh no, I've seen it later. Okay, whatever. Anyways, on to Clear Mind. Yeah, it's definitely worse than like Cluttered Mind and like Simon and stuff. You basically have to sacrifice Clear Mind value once you're level 8. So yeah, it feels much more awkward than them. It's like one of the worst Econ options, but sometimes you just need an Econ augment and it can be acceptable to click it. Climb Ladder, I'll go A tier. Just make sure you're playing a vertical before you click this. Star Guardian, Soul Fighters is some good examples. It can be really good. Cloning Facility, I'll go B tier. I think it can be pretty strong on stage 2 if you have like an upgraded like frontliner that you can clone. It used to be like really good in like Volibear, but Volibear's not really as much of a comp anymore. But yeah, if you're playing around Cassante or Volibear or Braum, I think it can be like a pretty good option. But it's not like that amazing. Cluttered Mind is a better version of Clear Mind. I think it's like a solid B tier. I don't think it's as good as like Slimin, so I'll probably be putting like Slimin in the A tier and Cluttered in the B tier. Cooking Pot feels pretty weak right now. There's not too many crazy things to play off of it. I think you can do like Prodigies. Sometimes if you have like Shadow Clone, there's an interaction where you can feed twice. So for example, like Cooking Pot, you put the Cooking Pot on like a Shadow Clone Nart, and then you're like feeding your Mundo twice. That can be kind of strong. But overall, like I'm not really too excited about most of the pans right now. Crown's Will, I'm going to go A or B tier. I think I am going to go... I think I'm going to put this augment in the A tier. I think it's one of the best augments in Yuumi Prodigies, and I think it should be like a pretty solid option in Rise as well, like if you need a rod. Just gives like an item and like a little bit of combat power, and it's really nice in those two comps, but I would probably avoid it in Slorks just because we don't use the AP too well. Crimea River is going to be B tier. I personally like this augment a lot in like Rise Mentors, but I don't think it's too good in much else. I wouldn't really want it in Prodigies because we already have like so much mana regen from our trait. Crystal Gambit Crest, keep in mind this one can only be offered on 2-1. I'm going to be putting it in C tier. I find it to be extremely coin flip. It's really hard to get to the Crystal Gambit board if you don't have an Econ augment on 2-1. So for my Crystal Gambit spots, I much prefer to like do like spat off of like Carousel or something. And yeah, this augment is like super coin flip, and you will go 8th a lot if you take it. But you will go first sometimes, so I'll put it in C tier. Cybernetic Uplink is... I don't think it's as bad as the D tier options. I'm not very excited about it. The set, ever since they added mana regen as a stat, units already have like a lot of mana regen, but it can have some good synergies. If we have like quality over quantity, for example, it can be pretty insane. I think if we have like a lot of items in like Star Guardians or like Rise Mentors or something like that, it can be pretty good. So I'll put it in C tier. Just make sure you have like a lot of like items spread already. a lot of items and their spread already before we consider taking this. Dazzling Display, this is the Sorcerer Augment. I think the text is a little bit bugged here. I remember they actually nerfed this augment. From my experience, it's like really hard to tell how good it is. I'll just be putting it in B tier as like a solid combat option for Sorks. Deadlier Blades. I think Deadlier Blades is pretty good. I think I'm going to be putting it in A tier. Actually, I'll be putting it in B tier. I think the spot that you would want to take this is when you have like an upgraded backliner that can use like a DB. So for example, like a Callista 2, then I would probably consider taking this augment. And we can maybe play into like Senna Mentors or just anything that uses like a DB will. Also, Jin reroll is probably a good one for this, but it's not like a crazy augment. It's probably just average. Deadlier Caps, I'll say same thing as Deadlier Blades, maybe just the AP version. So if we have like Syndra 2, we can take it and play into Prodigies. I'm gonna be honest, I've never seen this augment before, and I'm not sure if it's in the game. I know there's a different Wraith augment. I might just skip over this one. I know they removed Diamond Hands. Double Trouble is gonna be C or D tier. I've seen... I feel like I normally just watch people go 8th with it, but I feel like it does have like some potential. I think I'll be putting it in D tier just because it's very bad in the current meta. I've seen people try to play like Jin Mundo, but that comp's not very good anymore, and I've also seen people try to do like Xayah Rakan, but it kind of looks worse than just playing 2 more protectors. So I think this augment has some potential, but I just don't think that like we've really found the best way to play it, or maybe there's just like no rerolls that can use it well. Duelist Crest is... honestly, I feel like the Duelist emblem does not feel that good in 6 Duelists. Maybe if we hit like a TF on 8, we can drop like the Kaisa, but yeah, it doesn't feel that crazy, and I don't think it's like that strong early game either. Duelist early game doesn't feel that good after they nerf GP. So I'll put it in C tier. Duo Q, I like this augment a lot. I think if we're fishing for like a specific 5 cost, like for example Seraphine and Star Guardians, it can be really good, and I think in Fast 9 it's like pretty much one of the best augments we can take. So I think it's a really good augment. Edgelord Crest is currently bugged so that the armor goes back up after you reduce it to 0, so I'll just put it in D tier until they fix the bug. Maybe it has some potential when it's not bugged. 2-1 Epoch is also one of the worst econ options. I'm going to put it in B tier. I think it's a bit better than a Clear Mind, but probably worse than a Cluttered Mind. They did nerf Epoch like a couple sets back, and it doesn't feel like that great, but I think just taking a generic econ augment on 2-1 is like pretty good right now. Epoch Plus I think is a little bit better. The B tier is looking a little bit packed, so I might just put this augment in A tier, just by virtue of being like more generic and like better than some of these B tier augments. Escape Velocity I am going to put in the D tier. It doesn't actually do anything in the current version of Crew that we play with like the Jin, and yeah, it's just too hard to get value from this augment because like you're not going to have enough econ to get value from it, so it's pretty bad. Evil Beyond Measure I'm going to be putting as a C tier augment. I see a lot of people say that this augment is D tier, and although it's pretty bad in some scenarios, I think against like really high resist, high durability frontliners, so if you're thinking like a Colossus Udyr, then it can actually be like a really significant damage increase. Exclusive Customization, this one does not get offered on 2-1. I think it gets offered on 3-2 and 4-2. It does feel like a worse version of Big Grab Bag. I think I'm going to put it in C tier, because if we just compare Exclusive Customization to Big Grab, like this is giving us basically another full component, which is like a huge difference. So it's not unclickable. You know, sometimes when you really need an item, you really need to 3-item your carry. We can take it, but it's definitely not a great option, and Big Grab Bag is going to be pretty much better in like every single scenario. Executioner Crest, I'll put it in C tier. I actually think one of the best lines that we can play off of this is like Executioner Kaisa. Like if we have like a Kaisa on 2-1, then even without the Executioner trait in, we're going to be like getting some value from the augment. But I wouldn't really be too excited to like take it to play Rise. Like I would rather just have like a generic econ augment to play Rise. And as you know, that these crests can only get offered on 2-1 nowadays. Explosive Growth, this is the 3-2 version. I'm going to be putting it in... I think I'll be putting it in B tier. I think it's a solid econ option for Fast 9 and also Fast 8. Like if you're poor, you can definitely take it or if you're trying to pass 9. Same thing with Explosive Growth Plus. I think the thing about these augments is just like, yeah, they're like very solid, but they're not like good enough to go in the A tier. But yeah, if you're like really poor on 3-2 or you're trying to pass 9, then they can be good options. Forward thinking, I'm also going to put it in, I think I'm going to put it in the A tier. It does give more gold than like an explosive growth, and we're probably going to lose rounds with forward thinking, but usually when you take forward thinking, you're kind of already expecting to lose the rounds anyways. So yeah, just make sure that you're like pretty healthy when taking this. You don't really want to start the game at like 1 life with forward thinking. Fully adapted, this augment is quite good with Garen. That's what I've been seeing most people do. I'm going to put it in B tier. It doesn't really have a lot of other use cases, but if you have like a Garen 2 on 2-1 or just any upgraded frontliner, I think it can be like a pretty decent option to win streak. Gain the edge. I think this augment is quite weak, even if you are playing edgelords. Like even when Volibear was meta, I feel like this augment was like quite weak, so I'm going to be putting it in D tier. Game plan, this augment used to be pretty good. They did just nerf it, I believe, or they're nerfing it in the upcoming patch. I think they nerfed it in the last patch. But I would think it's like a decent combat option, like if we're playing like, you know, like Crew Ziggs or something, for example, then I think it can be a decent combat option. Give Me the Chair is currently pretty weak, but I have seen it succeed. I don't think it's completely untakeable, so for that reason I'll put it in C tier. Glass Cannon doesn't feel too good this set. I'm also going to put I think Glass Cannon could maybe make it into the B tier. Like, I think Prodigies with the Gunblade, it's a pretty good augment. It was pretty good in Sorks when Sorks were viable. Yeah, just make sure that you're like playing a lot of like backline carries. I've even heard some people say it's good in like Ashe Duelists, and you can just backline your like your Viego and stuff. So I'll just say it's like a solid combat option. You probably don't want to take it if you have like a lot of damage amp already, like Strategist Rise or something. And it's better if you have a Gunblade. Keep that in mind as well. Gold Destiny, I think it's A or S tier. I'm gonna put it in A tier. I feel like if you see like Gold Destiny and you see like Portable Forge or like All That Shimmers or something, then you're definitely clicking the very like safe option. But Gold Destiny is pretty good, and I'm usually pretty happy to click it. Gold Destiny Plus, I'll do same thing. If your other options are bad or you're poor, then it can be like a pretty good option to click, I would say. Of course, there's some low rolls, but there is some high rolls as well. And yeah, just getting like 4 or 6 gold is like a huge deal sometimes. Gold for Dummies feels pretty bad, but I don't think it's D tier bad. If you have like a really strong frontline, you can actually farm like 2-3 gold per turn. Maybe one thing to watch out for is make sure people aren't like full selling their board in your lobby. Like if you see like a calculated loss or something, you're gonna get like 0 gold against them. Golden Guillotine, I think I've only seen people take this augment like once or twice. I will be putting in D tier. I don't really know what you can play with it. Katarina reroll is like vertical Battle Academia, and like vertical Executioner is not really super strong right now. Like Rise only tends to play like 3, maybe 4 in like the super late game, but yeah, I'm gonna put this augment into D tier. Golemify, I'll be putting in the... I'll put it in the B tier. I think it has its spots. I think it has pretty high upside. Just make sure you have like a lot of HP on your board, so like heavyweights is probably the best spot to take it. And yeah, you want to take it when you have like backline items like Rageblade and Archangels that are going to allow you to win rounds with a really tanky golem. And we can scale into some sort of like backline comp. Hard Bargain feels kind of okay. I think I'm like B or C tier. I don't think it's great. I think I will put it in B tier. I think the HP that you get actually feels really nice, and it does give a good amount of econ. And like you kind of just need to play a comp that has like really flexible itemizations, so it's not like the end of the world if you don't get to pick your items. So like I guess one good example would be like Mentor Rise. We can use like AP items, AD items, and tank items. So no matter what we get off the carousel, it's not really like the end of the world. Yeah, I think some of these C tier augments are really bad, so I'm gonna put it in B tier. But I do think it's like this is like in the lower B tier, and this would be in like the higher B tier, for example. Maybe I'll move Cluttered Mind up, actually. I'm gonna move Cluttered Mind up. Anyways, Healing Orbs. It's like a decent combat option for melee carries, and if you're like high resist frontline, so like Colossal Udyr could use it pretty well. FT rolls, I think the upside is like super high. But I think in a generic spot, it's like pretty bad. I'll also put this in B tier. I think in like Scuttle Puddle Crew, I feel like I've seen some like really crazy high rolls with this where you get like, close to like, you know, like 700-800 HP on your whole team. Grand Slam, back when Volibear was good, I think this augment was considered quite good. Volibear is not too good anymore, so I'm gonna put it in C tier, but I think if like for Luchador, I think it's getting buffed next patch, so if that makes a bit more of a return, then it could be, you know, like moved up 1 or 2 tiers. Heavyweight Crest, I think this is B or A tier. I'm probably going to put it in the B tier, but it's really strong on like Mundo in the early game. And yeah, I think it can actually be like really strong early game, and we can play into like Jace or Juggernauts pretty easily with it. But yeah, it's not like too crazy. Also, it does feel really good on Leona. But I wouldn't really take it unless I'm like win streaking with it. So I'll leave it in the B tier. Heroic, I'll B or A tier. I think I'll go B tier. I feel similarly about like Deadlier Blades and like Deadlier Caps and like Heroic, that like when you're in the spot to take it, it's like really good. But when you're not in the spot, it can be like pretty bad. So the spot I like Heroic Grab Bag is like if we have a 3 cost that we can double Nico and slam an item on it. So think like, oh, Swain with a Stone Plate, or like Jace with a Stair Axe, or like, I don't know, Caitlyn with an IE, just like some examples. If you can like double Nico with 3 cost on 2-1 win streak, it's really good. And I feel similarly about the other heroics. Like they can be decent. These ones are more used like as like decent like econ options in reroll. So like if you're contested reroll, sometimes it's like literally the best augment you can hit, but it will cap you a little bit lower. Hustler, I feel. Oh, actually, I think I skipped a couple here. High voltage. I feel like Void Staff feels better than Spark in like most comps nowadays. So yeah, I think I might be moving high voltage down into the C tier just because Void Staff feels so much better. Like I think of course this augment can be fine if we're like win streaking into AP, but yeah, most comps tend to prefer like Void nowadays, like Rise and Karma and Yumi as well. So yeah, Spark is just a little bit awkward right now. Howling Gale, I've been seeing people take this in Prodigies. I think it's literally untakeable outside of Prodigies, and honestly, it doesn't even look good in Prodigies. I'll put it in D tier. Hustler, I'm also going to put it in D tier. I actually think like maybe like 1 cost reroll might be the best way to play Hustler, but yeah, I really hate this augment just in general, and yeah, it just like caps you super low. If you don't win streak, it's not good. Even if you win streak, you're like 4th maximum. So yeah, I'm like a really big Hustler hater. We already did one of the mech augments. I'll just be putting the other 2 in the D tier for the same reason until they bug fix it. And even after they bug fix it, like you'll have to be like, you know, Scuttle Puddle with a really strong opener to even consider it. Hero 101, this is the other Battle Academia augment. I've taken this on 2-1 with like Battle Academia upgrades and played into like Kate Jace, and it actually felt quite good. I do think it's like really situational though, but I can imagine like a scenario where it gives me like a guarantee or an Ezreal 2, and I would be like quite happy to take it, so I think I'll put it in B tier. But I'm not too sure. It could be like a bit better. But yeah, I would not take it without Battle Academia upgrades for sure. So I guess because just it's pretty situational, then I'll put it in B tier. Investment strategy, I'll put into the C tier. There's not really too many comps that synergize well with it right now, and you're pretty much never taking this unless it's a gold opener. But yeah, if you're doing some sort of like Juggernaut setup, or like I think Malphite could be okay with a gold opener. It has its spots, but the spots are pretty rare. Item Collector is a very solid combat option. I will put it in like B tier because I think it's pretty bad on 3-2, but I think it's pretty good on 4-2. If you're like on state 4-2, if you have like 8-9 items, I think it could be like one of the best combat options. But yeah, since you get offered on 3-2 and it's like pretty bad, I'll just put it in B tier as well. Juggernaut Crest is also gonna go in B tier. I think it can be like, yeah, basically all of these crests I feel kind of similarly about that. Like, we're only taking it if it's good for our board. We're not taking it to like hard force something unless the comp is like really broken. But yeah, like maybe if we can like win streak with like a Juggernaut Zac 2 and then play into like, you know, Juggernaut TF with like a Juggernaut Braum, that would be pretty good. But if we're just taking this and lose streaking, it's gonna be like really bad, like way worse than if we just took an Econ option. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Keepers is a great augment right now. I don't think it's great enough to make it into the S tier. I'm being pretty exclusive with the S tier. I have a couple ideas for some augments that are going to go in there. But I will go A tier. It's amazing in Star Guardians because we get the increased shielding from Nico. If we're playing like, you know, like Diego reroll duelists or something, it can be really good. It's really good if we're playing mech as well. We get like the extra keepers value. So it's a really good generic combat option right now, and really strong early game as well. Know your enemy, I will be putting in B or C tier. Honestly, I feel like I kind of avoid this augment. It's pretty easy to get the like extra value because like everyone plays like mentor and stuff. I guess I'll put it in B tier. Maybe like kind of similar to Glass Cannon is how I feel about it. And yeah, maybe just make sure that you're actually getting like decent value, like hit a quick scout before you click it. Last second save is like a great combat augment. I'm not like, after the nerfs, I think pre-nerf last second save was like an easy S tier. After the nerfs, I think I would probably be putting it in the A tier. But yeah, it's a great combat option in every spot, and it especially synergizes with like Star Guardians because we get like increased healing from the Nico. But yeah, it's really good in every comp. This is like kind of like a borderline. I'm really happy to click this as a combat. Knuckle Dusters is pretty situational. You really want to win streak with this augment. It was probably like S tier before the nerfs. It got nerfed really hard. I'll put it in B tier. The best in slot would probably be like IE, Striker, Spoil, Edge of Night. And yeah, we want to take it in a win streak with it, ideally. So like probably have like a slam or like a buy 2 or something before we click it. Learn from the best. I think this augment is like super underwhelming. You can hold all the mentors on your bench and like get some value and reroll. But I think I will be putting it in D tier. I think it just doesn't give enough stats for how conditional it is, and it doesn't give us like any immediate power. It's like we have to wait to get value from the augment, and even when we do get the value, it's not high value. So like keep in mind that these D tier augments probably have like some spots, but honestly, you could probably just never click them and you would be fine, I would say. Little Buddies feels a lot worse this set. But I have seen some spots where it's pretty good. Like AP units don't really like attack speed as much as before because of the changes where we don't get like we don't get as much mana per auto attack. So, but I think there are some like pretty good comps with it. I would imagine like Star Guardians is pretty good. I think Prodigies would be like pretty bad. Soul Fighters is probably like decent. Like some Ashe setups are probably pretty good. And there's probably some legendary boards that can use it well as well. I'll just put it in B tier. Just make sure it's like good in your spot. Like you want attack speed and you have like a lot of like at least a few like lower cost buddies to buff your guys. Luchador Crest. I think I'm gonna put it. I don't think this is like that good in the meta, so I might just put it in B tier. But I know for Luchador is getting buffed next patch, and I would kind of anticipate it to be like very good next patch. But yeah, kind of just being able to guarantee that you're gonna hit for Luchador is pretty nice, and like the actual value that this augment gives is pretty high. But yeah, Luchadors are not like that great in this meta, so I would like expect this to be like a little higher next patch. But I'll put it in B tier for now. Mace as well. There's gonna be a lot of B tier augments. These B tier augments, you can kind of just think of it as like, if you're in the spot for it, it's great, and if you're not in the spot for it, then I'll probably avoid it. So yeah, Mace's Will is going to be really good in like when we're playing the auto attack carries that can like use the. Also, if the glove gives us a slam right away, that's gonna be pretty useful. We're allowed to take it on 2-1 if it lets us win streak, but if we're not win streaking, I wouldn't really take it on 2-1. So yeah, like I guess Crew Jin, I would say it's probably like pretty good. It gives us like a slam. Malicious, I think is like quite good, but sometimes it can be a little bit awkward. I am gonna put it in A tier just because I feel like if we pick and choose our like malicious spots well, maybe I'll put it in B tier with like the same logic that yeah, it's like good in the spots that it's good and it's not good in the spots that it's not good. Yeah, I mean, first of all, we have to make sure that we're like winning rounds and killing a lot of units without an augment to get value from it. I think I actually really like malicious and like reroll if we're like, let's say we're like a full 2-star Kaisa board and we're not close to our 3 stars. Then I feel like it can be a great option because we'll be like killing a lot of units with our 2-star Kaisa board, and it will give us like the econ that we need to get to our 3 stars. And you know, sometimes if you're like poor but you feel like you can make a board on 4-2, let's say like we hit that one copy of Rise and the malicious gets us like Rise 2, then it can also be like kind of good. But yeah, sometimes if you're too poor and you click this, you just don't have any board and you lose every round and you go 8th. So maybe just being careful about that. Moonlight, I'll be putting it into B tier. It's not quite like last set we could take Moonlight and play around like Neferi and Amp, which was like an amazing setup. One setup I really like this set with Moonlight is that in like a vertical duelist, if we can make it to level 9 with Moonlight Kale, she can like literally outdamage like our Ashe. But I think the problem with Moonlight a little bit is that like a lot of comps play like multiple uncosts. So like Prodigies, for example, we play like Ezreal and Garen, so we can't really guarantee the Moonlight on one guy. Or like yeah, if we're playing like Juggernaut like Kale, we can't really do that because we have to play like Neferi or Aatrox for 6 Juggernaut. So it can be a little bit awkward, but I think I can have some like good spots as well, like moonlighting like, you know, Syndra, Kale, maybe like Lucian in like Mech or Source if we have like extra items. Then it can actually do like pretty decent work. New contenders, I think, is also going to be D tier. There's not really like back when Akali plus Cassante was really good. I think this augment had some merit, but there's just no comp that can use it in the meta. And like, I can't imagine a scenario where we're playing 4 Supreme Cell and not carrying a Supreme Cell unit to actually get value out of this augment. So just too hard to play around. I haven't seen No Scout, No Pivot once. I'm fairly certain it's not in the set, so I'm just going to move on to Noble Sack. Another decent generic econ option. I don't think it's like as good as these other A tier options, so I will be putting it in the B tier. But yeah, I've seen a lot of people take Noble Sack when playing around Stoneplay, and I actually like prefer to take it not playing around Stoneplay because I feel like if we're playing like Colossus Udyr, like no one's gonna die for like forever. So I think that's just one thing to keep in mind with this augment. Overheal, I will also similarly put it into B tier. I like it in Jhin a lot. If we're playing like a unit that's like does like almost all their damage from auto attacks, then it's gonna be really good, like Jhin. But it's not that too good on like the spellcasters. I think Ashe, like Duelists, it could be okay as well. But, or like Volibear, but it's not going to be good on like Samira, it's not going to be good on Jinx, not going to be good on like Smolder, not going to be good on Caitlyn. So yeah, if you're playing around an auto attacker, it can be like a pretty good option, I would say. Pair of 4s feels kind of understated to me. I'm not sure if they nerfed it or what, but I think it's like okay in Star Guardians and okay in Soul Fighters, but not even that great. Like, I feel like it just doesn't give enough stats. I'm going to put it in C tier. Pandora's items, I think I'm going to put in A tier. I feel like just like 2 components on 2-1, that's like already really good. I mean, another one gives you like 2 components basically. And yeah, just getting to pick our items throughout the entire game is like super valuable, and like always make items that are like good on our board, going to scale well. I really like Pandora's right now, and I feel like having like BIS is like so important in like so many of these comps. Patient study is going to be very similar to it's probably a little worse than Cluttered Mind and probably a little better than Epoch. It's probably like a top of B tier type of augment, maybe like low A tier. And I might do like one final pass through and like adjust some of these tiers at the end because there's so many augments. Piercing Sight, I've heard this is good in Yuumi, and my experience is just super underwhelming. I think I am gonna put it in D tier, but I've heard it's good. I've heard it's good in like Yuumi with Yuumi and Malzahar, but then when I see it, it does like nothing. I'm gonna put it in D tier. It's my tier list. But yeah, I mean it's pretty much unclickable outside of Yuumi plus Malzahar, and then maybe it's like an average combat option in that comp. Pilfer is also a pretty bad econ option. I'll be putting it in C tier. I would rather take Clear Mind than Pilfer. But maybe if you're like win streaking, Pilfer can be okay sometimes. Or if you're like rerolling, you have like a, I don't know, it's like super niche spot, but if you have like Malphite 2, Jin 2, and then a bunch of people are like playing Malphite and you can like steal their Malphites, but yeah, it feels very niche, doesn't give as much econ as the other ones, and you're not usually pilfering anything that useful. Plot armor feels very similar to Noble Sacrifice. One thing I would say is that this augment has insane synergy with last second save, and also really good synergy with like Star Guardians. Because you get the plot armor first, and then the last second save, and like your entire team's just unkillable. Portal Forge, easy S tier. Top of S tier. Probably like the single best augment on 2-1 in like almost every spot. It gets worse on 3-2, 4-2, but the upside is just so high that this is like, yeah, easily S tier. They are nerfing some of the artifacts. I expect it to still be the best augment in the game. Power of Friendship. I am going to put this in A tier. I feel like Star Guardian boards with this augment feel really strong when I play against it. One thing though is that I don't really think you're allowed to like click this on 2-1 and like lose streak. I mean, that's just a common theme in general. You can't really click combat augments on 2-1 and lose streak. But I would say it's a really strong combat option for Star Guardians on like 3-2, 4-2. Power Upload, I'm pretty sure they removed this from the game. Precise Shot, I've seen people take this in Jin. I think it looks like, I think it's a decent combat option if you're playing vertical snipers. It's kind of hard to tell. I haven't seen this augment too much. I'll just tentatively put it in B tier. This Protector augment, I actually took this yesterday. It felt super underwhelming. The shield was like way smaller than like a Keeper's shield. If you don't have upgrades, it does almost nothing, and even with upgrades, the shield felt pretty small. Although I guess one benefit over Keepers is that Keepers wears off in like 8 seconds, and this stays forever. But yeah, I think I'm going to put this up in C tier. Like, if it were 6 Protectors, we can probably consider it, but yeah, it felt pretty bad when I played it. Prep is might go into C tier. I would say Prep is like reroll only, and even in reroll, I feel like a lot of rerolls would rather have like other, you know, augments that, like item augments and econ augments to just like guaranteed hit the board right now. Yeah, it feels kind of hard to take Prep on 2-1. Prize Fighter, I think I'm gonna go B tier. If you have upgrades, it's really good. Don't take it if you don't have upgrades. I mean, I think the value of item augments is just so high right now that I guess I'll put it in A tier. And yeah, if you can like win streak with it. Because yeah, I do feel like pretty much every comp needs at least one item augment at the moment. Prodigy Crest. Prodigies are getting completely gutted next patch, so... But I don't know if those changes are going to go through. I would say as of right now, it's like one of the better crests. It guarantees us 5 Prodigy on level 8, and it's quite usable as like a Leona item in a pinch. Protector Crest? I've heard whispers about Protector Crest. I'm going to put it in the A tier because I don't have enough experience, but I think it's like extremely broken on Poppy and Star Guardians, just for the bonus. If we take like a very quick look at the stats right now, we can do like 7 Star Guardians plus and Poppy, and I think this is like her single best item. So yeah, I think this is like really good. Maybe even good enough that we're actually allowed to lose streak with it, but I don't have enough experience with it to say that it's S tier definitively. Psychic Forge, this augment feels like super like meme and underwhelming. I guess I'll go C tier. I guess one thing about Psychic Forge is just don't be too greedy with your items, because sometimes like if you're just waiting for BIS, you're gonna sit like an entire stage. But yeah, I think if you're like not too greedy, like 2 components and just kind of mitigating some low rolls and like making sure you always have 3 item carry is not that bad. But yeah, I'll put it in C tier. Probably hope it's gonna be C or D tier. I think I'm gonna go D tier. I don't really think you're allowed to click this augment right now. There's not that many comps that like pumping up, and like you pretty much always rather just have like econ or items on 2-1. Quiet Quitting, this gives econ and items. I don't think it's too great though. I guess I'll go B tier. It also doesn't let us level on 3-2, which can be kind of awkward. Like we're pretty much guaranteed to lose the next 3 rounds. And like 16 gold plus a completed item is like, if you compare that to like big grab bag, like we can't do anything for 3 turns, and then like we're only getting like a little bit more gold value. So maybe this one you don't want to take like if you're poor versus this one. But yeah, I'll put it in B tier. I don't think the upside is like too high. Pyromaniac, I like this augment a lot in Ashe and in Prodigies. I think I'm gonna go A tier, and red buff's also getting a buff next patch. Yeah, I feel like it's strong early game. It feels really good in Ashe, feels really good in Prodigies, and yeah, throughout this video I'm really emphasizing the importance of like item augments, I guess. Raining Gold, Raining Gold versus Patient Study. I think I might put Raining Gold in the A tier. Raining Gold Plus, I think I will put in the B tier. This one you're gonna take like if you're poor on 3-2. If you're like, whoa, I have no money, then yeah, just instantly jam this. And I feel like this is always like a solid, like if you don't have a board on 2-1, like you're very happy to take Raining Gold. And even if you do have a board, it's not a bad option either. Raid Boss, I think this is gonna go C tier. If you're playing like Shen Hero Augment, for example, this is like the single best augment you can hit. But generically, it's just like so niche that I feel like it has to go into the C tier. Reinforcement, easy A tier. Is it S tier? I don't think it's S tier. I think it caps you kind of low. But if you're like heavily contested, this is often the single best augment you can hit. I guess one thing to keep in mind with reinforcement is like if you have a pair of a unit and you hit that unit in your shop, instead of skipping it, you can bench everything and then buy it, and then it won't use up your reinforcement. So I guess I'll give like a quick example using like the team builder. So like imagine we're playing like Prodigies and we have like a Cassante pair on our bench. Imagine this is like our bench. We bench everything. We bench Ezreal, we bench Garen, we bench Syndra, we bench Malzahar. And then when our bench is full, if we buy the Cassante, it'll make the 2-star, and then we won't use up our reinforcement, so we can go like buy a Yumitu later. Replication is going to be easy A tier in my book. I really like this on 2-1. If you have like any upgrade on 2-1, this is like a great augment. Decent on 3-2 as well. It's probably it's like a little worse than Big Grab, but obviously this one gets offered on 2-1, and I'm really happy to take this on 2-1. Ring the Bell. I've kind of seen this augment pop off in Darius. I don't think you can really. Also, I've seen it do look pretty good in Zac Hero Augment as well. But sometimes your units just die before the 15 seconds. So yeah, I would say if you're already playing vertical heavyweight, it's probably a pretty good combat option, but it's not really an augment you can click on like 2-1 or something. Salvage Bin. Item augment goes into the A tier. No, but in all seriousness, I think Salvage Bin is pretty good. It lets us slam like any items that's strong on our board, and the value of item augments is quite high right now, as I've been saying this whole video. I'm not sure what this one is, but Salvage Bin Plus. I think Salvage Bin Plus is more like a B tier. I feel like the value is like less high than like, or it's not as good as the 2-1 one. Maybe it's A tier anyways, though. Honestly, I feel like there's so many scenarios where you just need item augment on 3-2 that I'm kind of tempted to just put this in the A tier. And like sometimes if your items are bad, then this can like really bail you out, because you can just fix your items like later into the game, like stage 5, stage 4, stage 5. So yeah, I'll put it in A tier. Sated is going to go in C tier. There's not a lot of comps that use this well. It felt pretty good in Sorks, I think, when I played it, but yeah, that's about it. I'd say it's like pretty mid option. Scapegoat is one of the less good Econ augments. It's kind of like a worse Raining Gold. It's probably like, I don't think it's C tier bad. I think it's like low B tier. Scavenger is pretty strong early game. I think I might put it, this kind of feels like a high C tier augment though. Like I would much, yeah. I think it can be pretty strong early game if we have like backline items and like frontline upgrades. But it does feel pretty niche. Like the upside is not that crazy. It can be good for win streaking sometimes, I guess. Scoreboard Scrapper, I think is going to go into the A tier. One thing to keep in mind is that you have to like bench all of your units and then put them all back in, or else you'll lose one Scoreboard Scrapper stack. But yeah, it feels like a really great option in like Rise, Prodigies, in a lot of comps. It's like one of the few like combat augments that you're actually like allowed to click on 2-1 and lose streak with, because the upside is just really high. and you can cap really high with this. Slammin, I think I mentioned this a little bit earlier. Slammin is like pretty much the best econ option. I'll be going like top of A tier. I don't think it's like quite S tier, but because it doesn't really like instantly win you the game or anything. But same thing with Slammin Plus. These are like pretty much the best econ, like generic econ options. Solo leveling, I think I'm thinking like top of A tier or S tier. It did get nerfed a little bit. I think I will put it in S tier though, because I feel like it can make bad openers good. Like if your opener is just like a Viego or like an Udyr and like nothing else, then you can like literally 4-streak. And if you have like a Nefiri too, it kind of feels like you're guaranteed to 5-streak. So yeah, I feel like this can turn like bad openers to being really good, and the upside is just so high. Like you can be like level 6, 50 gold with like extra 2 item components on 3-1. But yeah, just make sure you have like a unit that actually uses this well. Think like Garen 2, Nefiri 2, Viego 1, Udyr 1, stuff like that, like melee carries. Sorcerer Crest. Sorcerers are generally quite weak right now, and even then, they don't want the Crest in the comp. So I'll go D tier. If Sorcerers were viable, maybe it would be like B tier. Soulfighter Crest. This is one of the better crests because it guarantees we can play 8 Soulfighter on level 8. Soulfighters are quite weak right now. But I'll put it in C tier just because it's not good in the meta, but I would say like if Soulfighters is good in the meta, this could easily be like an A tier augment. Space Camp, this augment's actually getting a rework next patch. I think in Vertical Crew, it is one of the best augments that you can get, like if you already are kind of angling crew. But yeah, how good this augment, I'm not sure how good it will be after the rework, and maybe I'll just leave it down here because it is getting a rework, and I can't really say how good it'll be after that. You have my sword. I think it's a B tier option. I think it can feel pretty nice in like if we need a sword basically. So like if we need a sword, like it's great in like Jace Caitlyn. I think it could be pretty good in Jhin. I think it can, like if we really need a sword playing like, you know, Darius, Kai'Sa, Smolder, like even though the synergy is not the best, it can be like pretty good. But yeah, I'll be putting in the B tier. A lot of the time you're like taking this augment because it's like, oh, my spot sucks if I don't have a sword. But yeah, the only comp that I would say it feels like amazing in is like Jace Caitlyn. Spirit Link, I am going to put it in the B tier. I feel like a lot of the front lines don't abuse Spirit Link that hard. It mostly synergizes best with like Bastions and Juggernauts. But it doesn't really, I would say it's not very good on shielding frontliners, and there is a lot of shielding frontliners, like a lot of like Cassante Protector running around, Poppy like shielding herself. But yeah, if you're doing like vertical Jug, vertical Bastion, it can be really good. Also, like on 2-1, like sometimes I click this, but it can feel a little sus for obviously reasons that I've mentioned, that you mostly want to be clicking like Econ augments and like some item augments on like 2-1. Spoils of War, I'm a really big hater of this augment. I will put it in C tier though. I think if you like Giga win streak with it, it's probably not that bad. But even when I have strong openers, I usually tend to like take like Econ or Combat over this. Well, I guess it is an Econ augment. It's like an Econ augment if you have a strong board. Yeah, just make sure you like scout well before taking this. And like even with a really strong opener, I'm not that excited to take it. Star Guardian Crest might be S tier. I think I'm gonna put it in S tier. Like Star Guardians with and without the emblem just feels like two different comps. It's pretty strong early game. Like Star Guardians has a really good early game, and yeah, and the late game is also insane. Just getting like so much extra stats on our entire team for a gold augment. So yeah, I think it is definitely deserving of like an S tier. Starfall, I think I will put this augment in A tier. I feel like I see it pop off a lot. I feel like the only problem is it's so hard to hit Nico 3. Maybe B tier, just because of how hard it is to hit Nico 3. But I would say the upside of this augment is like really high. And the bits would be like Archangels, Edge of Night +1. Stars Are Born. I think I've been under-clicking this augment a bit. It feels pretty good in reroll and as a tempo option, like good econ. And I think win streaking is pretty good right now. It just lets you win streak a lot, so I think I'm gonna go A tier. Strategist Crest. This augment is really insane late game. It's not very good early game. I think I will put it in A tier though, just because I feel like late game, the fact that the emblem gives your frontliner stats and you get like the trait bonus and it can be like kind of a usable like frontline or backline item is like so good. But yeah, it's like kind of weak early and very strong late. Sunfire Board, it's like a decent option if you don't have anti-heal. How long is this video getting? I think it's getting pretty long. Anyways, Supreme Cells, it was really good on All Out Cassante. It's really bad in Kaisa. Kaisa doesn't want Supreme Cell Emblem. It's like positive delta. I think I'll just go D tier because it's bad in Kaisa. Teacher's Council. This augment is... I think I would put it in S tier. It's like so strong early game if you have like a Kobuko. And it's like amazing on like the Rise board. It is getting a nerf next patch, but I think it's S tier and might even stay there. Tesla Coil is easy A tier. If you have a lot of items, this can cap so high, or like Shadow Clone or like TGs. The Darkness Within. I've seen this actually looks pretty good in Vertical Wraith. The only thing is I don't really know when you're playing Vertical Wraith. I will put it in B tier though, because I don't know where it went. Right here. I will put it in B tier because I think it's actually pretty good, but like you have to be already playing Vertical Wraith. But it does seem to provide a lot of frontline. This augment, I think it's terrible. Just reading it, like Soul Fighters don't really want stacking attack speed, and it's so slow. Like I think this augment is just terrible. I think it's D tier. Same thing with the Strongest Survive. I've taken this augment before, and yeah, it's actually just horrible. This might be like one of the worst augments in the game, I feel like. Thorn Plated, however, it's gonna be A or S tier. I think I'm gonna go S tier. I think if you have an upgraded frontliner, this like low-key, like you 5 streak so often with this. And Bramble's a really good augment, and this is just a really good augment. Or sorry, Bramble's a really good item, this is a really good augment. Time Skip, I think it's like kind of an average econ option. I will put it in the B tier. It only gives like slightly more gold than like AFK, so it's not that crazy, but I don't think it's too bad either. It's just like an okay econ option. Tiny Team, I think the cap of this augment is like super high. It's kind of hard to play around. I've seen Syndra reroll, like Syndra reroll, which looked pretty good. And I think it can be really good in like Xayah reroll as well. So yeah, I think this it's also super strong early game. I will put it in A tier. I think maybe if we like optimized how to play around it, it could even be S tier. But yeah, I think it's a really good augment. Tomb Raider. Like I honestly think Tomb Raider could be better than some of these D tier augments. Although I think the gold Tomb Raider is a lot worse than the Riz one. I think gold Tomb Raider is probably going to be D tier. Just playing without like any combat at all. But honestly, if someone's like guaranteed to die, I think I can knight. Yeah, I'll put it in C tier. Like if you're like literally guaranteed to outplace like 2 people, then I think it's not bad. Like the cap with +3 items for gold is like super good. And yeah, it is kind of slow. And we're probably not like that happy to take it ever, but I think there is probably some spots for it. Just because of how bad some of these augments are that I'm putting in B tier. Like these augments, I feel like you just like almost never click them. And then like these ones I feel like have some spots. That's kind of how I'm thinking of it. Tons of stats. Generic combat augment. Pretty decent in all comps. Tournament favorites, this got a nerf recently. I'm not sure if it's C or D tier. I'll just put it in C tier. I have to imagine if you're like win streaking with Soul Fighters, and if Soul Fighters were a little bit better, then it probably wouldn't be that bad. Tournament Titan, Setsuko actually clicked this against me. It's probably really situational, but if it gives you Luchador upgrades, then you might be able to click it. Tower Defense, I am a Tower Defense hater. I think One Rank Trainer and Tower Defense became a lot worse when they removed Prismatics from the game. I will put it in C tier though, it's definitely not completely unclickable. Trade Sector is going to be A tier. I think it's one of the better econ options, even for tempo. And in reroll, it feels like really amazing. Transfer Students, this might be D tier. I will put it in C tier though. The thing about this augment is that once you get the 3 stars, it starts giving you gold, so I feel like it's just worse than like Trade Sector. But it's probably not D tier bad. Treasure Hunt's gonna be B tier. It's like a solid reroll option. It used to be like Giga S tier, but after the nerfs, it's just kind of okay. Trifecta is probably C tier. There's not a lot of comps that use it that well. Maybe Jace Caitlyn is like the only one. And even then, like, it's not like the stats that it gives you are that crazy. Honestly, this kind of feels like an Econ augment sometimes. Like, you take it because like you want the 2-3 costs. But yeah, the combat power is pretty low. Shen Hero Augment is pretty weak right now. I'll go C tier with it. It's just Vertical Bastion with like Rageblade, Gunblade. Too Much Value is similar to Trade Sector, but a little bit harder to play around. I guess I'll put it in A tier, just because like if we're playing two costs for the entire game, it's literally like the same value as Trade Sector. And of course, like sometimes if we're stacking, we could just play like 4 or 6 2 costs and get more value. But yeah, like sometimes it can be a little awkward, but like there can be some really good comps with it, like Fan Service, Zion, Recon. 2 Trick, I'm gonna put it in B tier. I think 2 Trick feels a little bit coin flip compared to like a Stars Are Born. Like Stars Are Born, we can choose to buy like the units that we want, the units that are like gonna pair well with our board, with our items. 2 Trick, it's like totally possible to get like units that just don't pair well with our board at all, and then we like mix streak, and then it kind of feels like we lost the game. So I feel like this is like a bit worse version of this. Unceasing, I think is going to be A tier. I really like this augment and Vertical Juggernauts. Your frontline feels like really tanky with it. I wouldn't take it unless I'm playing 6 Juggernaut though. Vampiric Vitality, this is going to be C or D tier. I think it's just D tier. I can't really imagine what the spot for this is anymore. The healing that you, like the Tactician healing you get is so little, and 12% Omnivamp is also so little. It's a really bad augment. Wandering Trainer, C tier. Warpath, I'll put it in C tier. I think it can be like kind of clickable in like component anvils with strong opener. I think it has its spots, but yeah, this augment is quite coin flip, and it's generally pretty bad, but does have some like decent upside. Like I think the biggest high roll with Warpath is if you get like a 2-star 2 cost, like in like component anvils that you can reroll like a Katarina or something, or like a Zaya, and then we just like slam 2 items on it, and then we're like rerolling and we're winning all of stage 2, all of stage 3. That can feel like really good. Water Lotus is going to be B tier, I think. I heard this augment has like really good synergy with Varus because like all of his arrows can give the mana back. But yeah, we're mostly just clicking this if we have like Guard Breaker but no like JG or IE, or if we just like are playing something like Sorks or like Prodigies and we don't have like a JG, then it could be like a pretty good combat option. But if we already have JG or IE, it's pretty bad. Wow, we're down to the last few. All right, worth the wait. Another pretty easy S tier. In the worst case scenario, this gives like a little less gold than Raining Gold, but usually this augment allows you to tempo like so hard. Like I feel like you win like all of stage 3 so often with a 3-star 1 cost, and I would say like going for the 4-star is like almost always a bait nowadays. Maybe like certain ones like Kale, where it's like if we're playing like 6 Juggernaut Kale, then that's like our solo carry, then we can go for the 4-star. But most of these I feel like I'm pretty much never going for the 4-star. But yeah, even if we get like something like Kennen and we're like not sure what to do with it, just having like a 3-star tank on stage 3 is gonna like let us win so many of those stage 3 rounds, even if we have to like sell it in stage 4 or whatever. And Wraith Crest, it's probably gonna be like C or D tier. I can't even imagine what spot you would ever take this in. Like Jhin reroll? Maybe? Probably not. Nah, this is probably gonna end up in D tier. Like all the Wraith units are just, all the Wraith carries are like high cost units, right? Like Varus. So how can we take like a Wraith Crest on 2-1? That doesn't really do anything. Alright, well that's gonna be the final tier list. Is there anything that I really want to move around? Keep in mind that these are not really ordered within the tiers. Or like, maybe like, yeah, Portable Forge is clearly top of S tier, but yeah, in general, I didn't really order these within the tiers. I think I feel pretty good about this tier list. Obviously, stuff gets balanced and the meta changes, so this could really change at any time, but And I'll zoom out in case anyone wants to grab like a screen cap of the final tier list that we ended up with. Alright, well, I think that ended up being pretty long, but thank you so much for watching the video, and if you guys like it, then maybe we can come back for prismatic augments.